It's the top of round 2 in the NFL draft, and there are a bunch of names that are available for the Cleveland Browns that we think can really help this ball team get to where they need to go. We'll discuss those picks and very much more on this episode of the Locked On Browns podcast.
You are Locked On Browns, your daily Cleveland Browns podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
Welcome back, my friends, to the show that never ends, your daily delivery of all things Dog Pound LGB on the LOB, the Locked On Browns podcast, brought to you by the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Your host, Jeff Lloyd, at Jeff_LJ_Lloyd. Of course, you know the big fella, Garrett Bush, at GBush91, part of the Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show, Monday through Friday, 11 to 1 on YouTube. Also, the Barbershop, 92.3 The Fan, Saturday mornings. Breaking down probably what's next for the Cavaliers this offseason, Guardians, and of course, all your Cleveland Browns draft coverage. Make sure you are checking that out. All the new traffic here this week. Obviously, draft week brings a ton. Stick around. We're here every day. We're here every week. We've pretty much been here since 2017. So make sure you smash that subscribe button on YouTube. Of course, notifications on as the Browns get busy in the next, I'd say, 36 hours. So will Locked On Browns as well, and all the day oneers. You guys are huge. We appreciate you. G. Bush, round 1 in the books. We got a show to do quick before we get to rounds 2 and 3. Let the fine folks know what we got in store.
Coming up on the show, we're going to get to the winners and losers, who we thought did the best and who we thought did the least. What they won past us. We'll also talk about the big-time news in the AFC North. Lamar Jackson's contract is signed, sealed, and delivered. We'll talk about what that means to the Baltimore Ravens and how that affects the rest of the pecking order in the AFC North. But first, Jeff, before we get to any of those things, we got to get to what people want to know the most, is who's available in the second round or in the third round, day 2, that the Cleveland Browns should be looking at and should be knowing. So we could definitely jump right head feet into that. I'll tell you what, the guy I'm looking at is Jalen Hyatt. Boy, I tell you what, I've been watching him, and I didn't think that he would have an opportunity to be there. And we do got to throw a disclaimer out there. I mean, the Browns aren't picking 274. So a lot of these names that we're going to throw out are guys that are going to be very high, could be high guys targeted in the second round. So unless the Browns choose to move up and get them by packaging something together to move up, some of these guys may not be available. But there are a lot of guys that we talked about, Jeff, that are the best available that could be possibly out there. Big name on the board. The Browns obviously don't need a quarterback. Will Levis is still there in the second round. And I think there may be some jockeying and jousting for guys to go up and take a look at a Will Levis, a Higdon or Hooker. Higdon Hooker from Tennessee is still available. So there may be some moves where people are trying to jump up, and that means some of the names that may drop down to you. The Jalen Hyatts of the world. There's a lot of edge rushers. Carl Brooks out of Bowling Green still available. Young, the pass rusher out of Tennessee, is still available. Mingo out of Ole Miss is still available. A lot of these names we talk about. The running back from, I believe is Tulane. I forget his name.
Tyjae Spears.
Tyjae Spears still available. So there's a lot of guys that you're going to see. The big fella from Georgia, that monster, my man number zero, he is out there moving around. Washington still available, 6'7", upwards of 260. Darnell Washington's 270 pounds. He's still available. Don't know if the Browns would go tight end because they do have David Njoku under contract. Did go out and get a free agent tight end, and you do still have Harrison that we're talking about. But I tell you what, there's some big names still available. To me, the one that stands out the most is Jalen Hyatt. I think if you were able to go out and get him, he automatically adds a deep threat level that you have not had here with the Cleveland Browns. He runs fluid. He put up big yards, big plays constantly against SEC competition. I think he would look good in the Browns uniform, but there are a lot of other players available in this early second round, Jeff, that are still on the board that I think could help a lot of teams out.
And again, we're going to continue with this trend, and it feels so weird. I don't want to talk wide receivers. I don't. Look, if you want to get 74 and 98 put to bed and, some positional needs taken care of, I'll be willing to talk wide receivers, but I think there's still business to be done. Here's what's crucial, and I think could be very advantageous to the Cleveland Browns and Andrew Berry at this point. One tight end went in round 1. We've talked about what type of class this is. And the Browns, we don't think you're dipping in that pool. So you want to know what? Let's get a nice tight end run going here in round 2 and the beginning of round 3, where maybe the Browns aren't going to be active. And guess what? Boom, tight end, tight end, tight end, tight end, tight end. So you know what that does? That's less that are getting picked off the edge and the defensive tackle lists, which could behoove Andrew Berry and the Cleveland Browns tonight. So where we're at. So edge-wise still available. Isaiah Foskey from Notre Dame. BJ Ojolari, Adebawore from Northwestern. I don't know what you do with him. I don't know if you play him inside. I don't know if you play him outside, but you want to know what he's such a freaking phenomenal athlete. I think Jim Schwartz said, don't worry about it. I'll make sure he gets enough reps wherever I need him to get reps. Keon White, Georgia Tech, issue there. Older guy, will be 24 this year. Tua Lapatua from USC. My guy, Derek Hall, that I will never not want to talk about. Andre Carter still available. Age is an issue. Zach Harrison, we've certainly mentioned his name in the past. Then you can get to the defensive tackle position. Keanu Benton still available. Gervon Dexter, this is a player we've talked about. Ika from Baylor, it's a guy we talked about. The guy Zach Pickens, I liked the one episode I did with Pete Smith, another big Zach Pickens fan. A guy might be able to fit in here. Byron Young from Alabama. This is a guy we've talked about for a while as well. Moro Ajomo from Texas, also a guy available here. The running backs, and for me, I've talked about this, the emphasis I think that this team still needs at this position. Charbonneau, UCLA, Devin Ashee from Texas A&M's got that game-breaking ability. Zach Evans from Ole Miss. A lot of people like Tank Bigsby. My guy, Kendre Miller from TCU. My guy, Sean Tucker from Syracuse. There is still the propensity and the ability here for the Browns to get some damage and get a player acquired here. Look, a lot of the names we've talked about that we thought would be pegged for 74-98, they're still here. They are.
Trent
and
Simpson
the good thing, look, along
guy.
with the yep. And it doesn't seem like things are going that great for him now. Whatever Jack Campbell went, that's fine. But you throw in a possible tight end run and maybe even a wide receiver run and a tight end run. And guess what? The Browns could be cooking with gas when they get up at 74. They probably have, I would say, when you're first picking at 74, you look at this and you probably say, you know what, of our board, we'll be happy if we have 5 options. If 5 guys that we thought would be available at 74, we'll be giddy if we have the 5 names available at 74. If we get a tight end run, you throw in Levis, you throw in Hooker, you throw in a possible run. Some of these running backs could go, some of these wide receivers could go. The Browns could be set up in an advantageous situation where the D line is not going to be dried up. And that was one of my concerns at 74 was, the best of the best going to be gone. So far, so good. A lot of corners went last night. More wide receivers went in round 1, and I think a lot of people anticipated, obviously. So far, so good on that front, G. Look, we got to play out another 32 picks. Then we got to play out another 11 picks from there. So there's about 43 guys still going to go before the Browns get there. So, that is a big, big number. It's
a huge number, man. And here's another guy like Dorian Thompson Robinson, who is 23. If you don't like Hendon Hooker, you got another guy like him who is young, who put up a lot
younger,
of
not
numbers.
Coming off an ACL, of course.
So there's 3 guys that you hope could move up. But like you said, the big thing for us is the waiting game, and I think this is the toughest part, Jeff, is especially us, if we see a guy we like, we're just counting down to be like, every time now, you're just crossing the name off the books. You're like, dang, oh my gosh, I had him. Well, okay, who we got left after that? You look down there and be like, okay, we got this guy. So, and then it's a waiting game, and it's tough to wait. But you got to believe, though, there's a waiting game for the Cleveland Browns too, because if they have their mind set on the guy, I think they have a limit to which they want to get to. And if they see a guy that they really had high on their board keep falling and falling and falling and falling, you make that call up and you say, hey Jimmy, Jimmy, you care if we move up to get this guy? We got him. We want that permission slip sign, because that's how you move up. If you say, if this guy falls beyond point X, Y, and Z, we're going to go get him. And I think it'd be interesting to see if anybody is on their list like that for the Cleveland Browns.
If there's a name that they can look at and say, you want to know what, this guy could be the starting defensive tackle next to Dalvin Tomlinson, you go north, and you go north in a hurry, and you give up what you got to give up. And it's just the price of doing business. Because as we said, right now this team has one obviously glaring hole, is you have zero confidence in any other defensive tackle other than Dalvin Tomlinson right now. And it's not a knock on these guys. It's just a reality. Jeff Lloyd, G. Bush, your latest Locked On Browns. We're going to kick it here. We're going to shift gears here. Obviously, the AFC North waited about, let's say almost 23 months to hear this news. But Baltimore Ravens, Lamar Jackson, his official is done. He's going to be there for a while. We'll break it all down on your latest Locked On Browns. Ultimate Football GM. Oh my God, boys and girls, I cannot begin to tell you about this game. When you play Ultimate Football GM, you get to control and manage every strategic aspect of your team as you play through seasons and lead your team to glory, trying to build an historic dynasty. It's fun. I'm not doing as well as I wish. I may have to take myself and remove myself from the draft board. I'm a little bit better extending and picking free agents that I am in drafting. It's work to do. With the Ultimate Football GM app, you're responsible for controlling the destiny of your franchise. You are in charge of hiring the right coaches and coordinators, managing all the finances, including negotiating player salaries and terms, navigating your franchise through free agency, the draft, injuries, player personnel issues, and all the ups and downs of a season. All of this in a challenging and realistic game world. Ultimate Football GM is completely free and playable offline. Play on the go as you want and when you want to. Locked On Browns listeners get a 100% free boost to the franchise when using the promo Locked On, all caps, in the game store. That's Locked On in all caps, so make sure to check it out today. To download the game, just visit ultimate-gm.com or look it up in the app stores. That's ultimate-gm.com. Ultimate Football GM. Start your dynasty today.
Welcome back to the Locked On Browns podcast, your team every day. G. Bush, Jeff Lloyd here. Jeff, the big-time news dropped yesterday. Lamar Jackson signed a big-time deal, $260 million. I believe $100 and almost $90 million of it guaranteed, making it the second most guaranteed money behind Deshaun Watson at $230 million. But per year, he becomes the highest paid player at $52 million over a year during the yearly time. So he's going to get $52 million a year. Jalen Hurts just signed his deal. He got $51 million per year. But this is a deal that I think both sides wanted to get done. And that's how deals usually get done. Lamar Jackson looked at it and he came to the conclusion that the guaranteed dollars weren't the biggest thing in the world. He said, you know what? It ain't the guaranteed dollars. This is dollars that I could get per year. I could say, if I want to break it down this way, I'm the highest paid quarterback to date. He could say that. If he wants to look at the guaranteed money, you're not number one at 230, but you're close. I mean, 190 is one heck of a guarantee. And let's be honest with you. Somebody probably came to him and said, listen, if you play well, when is the last time a quarterback got cut? When is the last time a franchise quarterback signing this much money who plays halfway decent is not going to get the full contract? Most of them get the full contract. So it's just all the way you look at it. And one thing that I think it really played a big role in it is the fact that, look, the Baltimore Ravens heard loud and clear. They played hardball for a while, and they realized, hold on, how is this really going to play out in the long term? Because if you thought Odell Beckham Jr., you gave him $15 million guarantee, 18 overall. Do you think he's going to like playing with Hundley after you're 4 and something? No. They said, we're going to make an investment here. They go get Zay Flowers in the draft, Jeff, a guy who I love to death out of Boston College, shifty, move around. Now they have a little more kick in their offense. Now you bring back Lamar Jackson. And guess what? All of a sudden, J.K. Dobbins is 1 year removed. Gus Edwards is a guy that's going to be back in the fold. You definitely you winning out and got two receivers that can make you better. And you got a defense with Patrick Queen, and you got a guy you got Roquan Smith. And now the Ravens look more like the Ravens. They are back in contention for this division. Best believe that they're going to be ready, and they think they can compete with the Bengals for the top spot. And so right now, the Ravens are back whole, in my opinion, and I think there's something to really deal with in the AFC North. Your thoughts?
Well, first things first here is, as much as everybody wanted to complain about Deshaun Watson's contract a year ago, I think he's 6 now in quarterback money.
Yep.
Herbert and Burrow are coming down the pike. So guess what? That's going to put him in 8th. So, you know, cry me a river. Quarterbacks make money. It's the way the world works. You know what I'm saying? What do you want me to do? Yeah. But as far as the situation with the Browns, the Ravens, does this make things better? Maybe between the relationship and Lamar? Look, the Ravens basically stated the whole time to Lamar, we don't know what you're worth. That's basically what they did. So basically, they waited till this last contract got done, and it was basically said, and we'll go from there. Is he satisfied? Is he getting his money? I'm sure he is on all fronts. The key here, and what is going to be the key here for the Ravens, is how does this new offense work? You are brought in, Todd Monken, to run this offense and to try to get the best out of Lamar Jackson as a thrower. I do believe they are going to temper down a little bit on the overall Lamar Jackson experience. I think that was always the biggest issue as far as extending Lamar long-term was if we keep playing him the way we do, there's a shelf life here. You don't want your quarterback running as much as he does. You don't want your quarterback taking hits as he does. You don't, and you've seen it. There's been wear and tear the last couple of years. And it's not that there's always going to be that bag of magic that Lamar has. The thing is to not make that the entire offense, because as we've seen in the last 2 years, it's very, very difficult to put somebody in there, and you may have quarterbacks who can run, but it's very difficult to put guys in there and say, well, just go do what Lamar does. That's
right.
But the biggest thing for Lamar is the Ravens don't want him out there doing that game in, game out, because there is such a sustainability before an injury happened or a serious injury happened. And, Monken's going to come in here and hopefully try to create a lot of gimme throws. That's what he does. This is why Stetson Bennett won 2 national titles at the University of Georgia. Now, you were smart about it if you were Baltimore. Look, I don't know what Odell truly is and what Odell isn't. So we'll see there. But I do think they kind of CYA'd themselves with the Zay Flowers selection, because even if Odell turns out to not be worth the $15 million, and look, I'm going to be honest, he's not going to be worth the $15 million. He's not. He's just not that guy anymore. But Rashad Bateman, Zay Flowers, that's not bad. You still got Mark Andrews. So, you set this thing up to succeed. And what do we always say? And what did the Browns do with Elijah Moore? What did they do with Marquise Goodwin? You were trying to hedge your bets that your investment in your quarterback is giving you the advantage for it all to succeed. And that's what the Zay Flowers selection does. You have Rashad Bateman. Look, this is going to be a really, really strong top 3 in the AFC North. Pittsburgh, you ain't in this conversation right now. This is going to be a really, really strong top 3 in the AFC North.
Listen, I'm a little more bullish than bearish on Odell Beckham Jr. I don't know if he's going to be New York Giants Odell, but I know if you get Lamar Jackson scrambling around, moving around on some broken plays, I know if you got some other guys around him, he may not be a superstar like he was. He might not be a number 1 receiver. But if you're telling me that a number 2 guy, like he could be a number 2 and make you some plays, the injuries are part of the thing. But I think right now, I think I like the moves that they made. And even if they just got Odell to bring him in to get Lamar Jackson to sign his contract, that was good enough. With Lamar Jackson, they will be in contention.
Herein lies the problem, though, G. What if Zay Flowers hits the ground running? What if Rashad Bateman hits the ground running? We saw what can happen. Look, it's never going to be. Odell will be 60 years old playing with his grandkids and saying, "No, son, you can't play. I was open. You didn't throw it to me." That type of guy, that mentality just don't die. If you're a dog, you're a dog. You're a dog forever.
He gonna want the rock.
Absolutely. I'm making $15 million, and you're not throwing. That part is there. But as we always say, winning could cure all. But the thing is does the new offense work with Lamar? Does it succeed? And can they be smart enough to take the hits and the physicality off Lamar to make sure that this contract works for that franchise? Because you're going to start to lose some players here. And we understand this with Deshaun Watson. You're going to have to start saying, well, we got to go cheap here because we want to eat steak on Sunday. And that's just the way it works here. We're going to move on, though. Round one, Thursday night was a lot of fun. Very, very interesting. We're going to give some thoughts here. Who had a great night? Who had a so-so night? Jeff Lloyd, Garrett Bush, continuing here on your latest Locked On Browns. If you're looking for a delicious snack but don't want all the sugar and calories, then you need the best tasting protein bar ever built. You got to try this. What makes Built Bar so good? Well, for starters, they are all covered in 1% real chocolate. Dark chocolate. That's right. Real chocolate. And they come in unbelievable flavors like churro, peanut butter brownie, and cookies and cream. I'm not sure how Built does it, but these bars taste like a candy bar while maintaining amazing macros. And what's even better is that they are healthy, only 130 calories and 4 grams of sugar and a whopping 17 grams of protein. And now you don't need to wait to get a box. For years, we've been talking about ordering Built bars at Built.com, but now you can get them at your local Walmart or Sam's Club while you can still get your specialty flavors at Built.com. Head to Walmart, walk to the pharmacy section, and grab yourself a box of Built bars. You can pick up a 4-bar box of cookies and cream, double chocolate bar, or coconut puff. If you're close to Sam's, run in and grab a 13-bar box with our hit flavors, brownie batter puff and churro puff. And guys and gals, you can thank me later.
Welcome back to the Locked On Browns podcast. Make Locked On Browns podcast your first listen each and every day. Listen, we're going to get into these winners and losers from day one. I had a couple of them that I could look at, but for me, I liked what the Texans did. I looked at the fact that I'm a riverboat gambler. I like to go for the gusto. I like to go for it all. And I thought what they did was really savvy. They say DeMeco Ryans, a lot of times you come in as a new coach, they'll sell you on a 5-year plan. They say you got all the time in the world to build your roster, to build what you do best. Don't even worry about it. Don't even worry about it. We had to tear it down to the studs for you and understand, guess what? We got your back on a 5-year plan. What DeMeco Ryans so eloquently figured out, looking at back in the history of other coaches and where they went wrong, he realized that a 5-year plan really is a 2.5-year program. If you ain't doing nothing that first year, that's fine. You'll go in and get some more picks, but then they expect you. Where's the progress that second year? You might get through the second 2.5 years and almost to the third year, and they'll be like, listen, we haven't seen any progress. Maybe your quarterback you drafted in year 1 don't like you no more, and all of a sudden you're on the hot seat going into year 3. So you know what he did? He said, I'm not going to waste no time on no future assets like that. I don't care what I got to give up in 2027. Hey, I might not be here. I need to figure out what I'm doing today. So he gets CJ Stroud, number 2 overall, got the quarterback that they wanted to get. They trade right back up to number 3 and say, well, I'm on the clock again. Matter of fact, let me get Will Anderson, my rush in, the guy who we felt we wanted all along. And now we got one of the 2 most important positions. You got the quarterback who throws the football, and you got somebody that can go tackle the quarterback. And so they got their guys, they got their picks. They wasn't worried about all that down the line stuff. They identified their guys. And I love teams being extra aggressive and speeding their clock up a little bit, because now you got 2 blue chip players instead of having a potential of having 3 and 4 star players. We decided we wanted and got aggressive and went up to the top. So for me, I look at what the Texans did, and that to me is the guys that I felt really was a big winner in day one.
I do want to touch on the Texans here, because I think what the Houston Texans did was such a stinking rope-a-dope. They were so smart, because all of a sudden yesterday about 3 o'clock in the afternoon, the betting odds for CJ Stroud to go 2, where you would lose money placing the bet. You would literally, unless you are unless you're
Right.
a fat cat, you were going to lose money betting. So as everybody was like, oh, wow, this, that, and the other thing, and everybody was trying to grasp all of this, Houston went right from that to burning the phone lines with Arizona. Because here's what it was. DeMeco Ryan said, look, I'm coming here from San Francisco. Nick Bosa is what made that engine run. So look, if we can find a way to make this work, and look, if we think CJ Stroud is it, and all this talk about going for a quarterback next year, look, that seemed dumb. And I think this is why they were so smart in what they did. As everybody was spinning, going, wait a minute, well, CJ Stroud's now going 2. Oh, wait, nobody's trading up. And the next thing you know, they're in the back room working the deal to get 3, saying, look,
that's crazy.
We thought Will Anderson was they probably thought Will Anderson was the best player in his draft.
Right. They
so
did.
As everybody was gathering in themselves, they're just away, just sewing it together, and boom. Dude, to be able to go from 12 to 3, that takes work, man. And it did help them that they still had 2 first-rounders, coming next year. And everybody, they gave away their own first-rounder. Look, nobody knows how good the Browns are going to be next year. Nobody knows how good the Texans are going to be next year. So you want to know what? At the end of the day, if you got Stroud, if you got Anderson, maybe you end up being better than the Cleveland Browns next year. And everybody's like, you gave up your own pick, but not the Browns. We don't know. What they did is they satisfied what Arizona wanted. Arizona said, we want your pick. So, all right, cool. No problem at all, because the only thing we want is Will Anderson. And they did not think about next year. They didn't think about the picks next year. They said, we're walking out of this with the quarterback we like and the player we felt was the best defensive player in this draft. Now, one other thing. The Eagles, Jalen Carter, and then you get Smith, the DN from Georgia again.
Yeah.
A little bit of Athens in Philadelphia, obviously, as they went the same route last year. And what I like about this is, whatever your issues are with Jalen Carter, you've got him around dudes he knows. So he walks in there. He's got a mentor in Fletcher Cox. He's going to play with Davis. He's got 2 other guys on that defense that he is close with. And if they know he has issues, if they know he lacks focus at times, they could be the ones to call him out. They've got a history with him. They know him. Dude, we ain't going to beat Georgia in the NFL if you can't toe the line. Down there in Athens, and the coaches, apparently a lot of them were no comment when teams wanted to call and talk about Jalen Carter. The nicest things they said at times were no comment, which means, what do you think they truly wanted to say? So now you get him around people where he knows he's got to answer to. He's going to view his friends. He's going to view his equals. That was fantastic. The Jets, 2 years in a row, you draft a 24-year-old defensive end in the first round. Like, guys, I mean, I know Aaron's in now and you feel it's all in. But, and I'm seeing some things, well, if he can work on his bulk, he's 24 years old. If he needed to work on his bulk, he should have been doing it 4 years ago. Not at 24 when you're in the NFL now.
Get your bulk together.
You do not draft a 24-year-old guy in round 1 unless he's going to start. And ideally, he's not going to start. So what are you going to say? Oh, well, in year 2, year 3, when his kids go into 2nd grade, he's filling out his AARP information. Like, why would you draft a second defensive end 2 years in a row? That's 24 years old. Like, what are you doing? But, look, Jets should be in a good place. But no, I'm with you. Houston crushed it. The Eagles absolutely crushed it.
And then Nolan Smith, like, dang, bro, he just running the 4-4.
So they have all these defensive line players, and now they brought in a guy that runs a 4-3-7 to play defensive line.
And they still got Hassan Reddick. Come on.
Okay, so we're gonna block Fletcher Cox. We're gonna block Jordan Davis from last year, who they drafted last year. We're gonna make sure we're blocking Hassan Reddick, and now we're going 1-on-1 with the D end who ran a 4-3-7. Howie Roseman, you do freaking good business, bro. You do good business. He is Garrett Bush, panelist, Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show, Monday through Friday, 11 to 1 on YouTube Live. Make sure you guys are checking it out, man. Great show, day in, day out. You guys break each other's chops. They breaks the team's chops, but they also highlight the positives and sometimes have to accentuate the negatives. 92.3 The Fan on air host, the barbershop, Saturday morning. Always open for business, always ready to deliver the freshest of cuts, and sometimes the saddest of fades. Make sure you're following at GBush91, Jeff Lloyd at Jeff_LJ_Lloyd. Appreciate all the traffic coming this week. Keep it coming here. Browns haven't even gotten the toe in the pool yet, but we're going to cover for you all weekend long, getting you all the new Cleveland Browns coming into the fold. To the day oneers, as all you new folks should be doing, make sure you're subscribed to the Locked On Browns YouTube page. You have the notifications on, audio side, whatever your favorite podcast platform is. We are always available. We are always free. Browns, a few hours from now, about to take the clock here, bringing in some new, fresh talent. This has been your daily delivery of all things Dog Pound. LGB on the LOB. Let's go, Browns.